Welcome, Kane Fleury, and tell us what you do here at the museum.
So I'm a collection officer, so my role deals with everything from collection management to registrar type activities, so it's nice and varied, and I get to have a dabble in everything involved in the natural science world.
Have you a particular fondness specialty?
My actual fondness specialty is probably marine science and marine invertebrates, but today I've got some rocks to show.
Yes, well, what are they and where are they from?
So this is a set of rocks which were collected just after Mount Tarawera erupted by a bunch of governmental scientists that were employed for this task to go and get hand samples after the eruption. So we've got two pieces here of silicate material, and we've got a jar of ash deposits which were erupted out, and we've also got a really interesting lava bomb here, which is actually a composite of two different volcanic minerals and rocks. And this piece here is actually really interesting because it tells the story of Mount Tarawera. So the previous eruption which formed the mountain was a rhyolitic eruption, which is really high in silicon, and it forms those nice domes that you see in the central North Island and in the plateau, so your Ruapehu and your Ngarahoe, as well as kind of those smaller mountains like Tarawera in Rotorua. And so that's shown by this light grey rock on the inside here.
Yep.
And so the actual Tarawera eruption was interesting because it was a basaltic eruption, which is typically your oceanic type volcanic material. And so that's this darker black rock here, which has got a little bit more iron in it, so it comes out as a different colour. And so when it erupted, as the basaltic lava came out, it's actually clipped off a piece of the old volcano and has encapsulated it in this basaltic lava and then thrown it out of the volcano.
So the basalt was deep.
The basalt was deeper and was thought to have caused the initial eruptions back in kind of 1300 AD, which formed the initial volcano.
And these government scientists were sent there not just to collect samples, but to determine with those samples how things happen.
Yeah, and document that, and then they've ended up into the Otago Museum.
Which is quite a long way away. This bomb didn't come this far.
No. Although the ash cloud was seen as far south as Christchurch, and the actual eruption event itself was heard as far south as Blenheim, so quite a way.
Well, it was
south.
said that when Taupo went up, it was the ash went right round the world.
Yeah, and the Chinese reported seeing it on the sunset, and yeah, so that was a fairly large eruption. So that was.
Are we doomed, Kane?
Are we doomed? Maybe not. However, yeah, volcanoes are still pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, this one here, this almost suggests that that's come from the top of something with these hanging down.
Yeah, so no, that actually grows up the opposite way. So these little projections here are little silicon growths which are deposited in the thermal water, and they grow up and out. And so it's thought that bacteria assist the growth of those and can dictate the sort of forms of silicon growth, and the minerals which are also in the solution in the hot springs, that'll also determine kind of what shape it is, which I guess brings us on to our little piece here with the pink bit in it.
Well, it's quite a pale pink, isn't it?
It is a pale pink.
But this you were saying before was what the Pink and White Terraces would have been comprised or composed of.
Yeah, so this is a piece collected from near Lake Rotomahana, which is where the Pink and White Terraces were. And so it's very similar to what they were. And so you can see the white silicon here, and you can also see the pinker stuff. And so that pinky deposit is an opaline deposit, which is also caused by like extremophile bacteria which live in those hot springs, and they deposit
Opaline,
the colours.
Does that relate to opal then?
It does relate to opal, and it's the similar colour, and so they cover those hot pools in that sort of colouring. And so because it's actually like a biogenic life, the difference between the pink and the white terraces was mainly thought to be because of the aspect that they faced. And so the white terraces had almost all day sun, and the sun bleached all of the colour out of them, whereas the pink terraces kind of faced southeast. And so it didn't get as much direct sunlight, and so they remained pink.
Well, we do have a photograph after the eruption, I think, there that And you can see from there with the late,
Yeah. So
terrace.
so this piece here, where the photo is probably taken right on the edge of the crater, and so the crater, which actually erupted out on that night in 1886, actually stretched about 16 k's long. So it was a really violent eruption, and that's due to the amount of gas which was in the magma chamber. So if there's not much gas in there, it kind of oozes out like you see in the Hawaiian volcanoes.
Yeah.
However, in this one, because it was real gaseous, it all just kind of blew out.
It's phenomenal, isn't it?
And kind of associated with that is when those sort of eruptions happen, when it's real gassy, you get big ash clouds. And so that's where this ash comes in, which was collected. And so this actually buried a lot of the surrounding villages that were there. And there's between 100 and 120 people died in this eruption.
Okay.
And so one of those sites is now a pretty big tourist attraction, which is called the Buried Village, which is mentioned just in here.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, thank you very much. Cheers. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.